I cannot so much as utter the name Galaxy Z Fold 7 without getting a deluge of comments about how the battery is small, and that means the battery life is going to be absolutely terrible, unusable, all the internet hyperbole that you can possibly stand. And I am personally tired of having this conversation. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to try to address the battery life of the Z Fold 7 in the best way that I can think of. And this is going to be a multifaceted approach. So the first thing I did is I made this poll where I asked people to vote. Z Fold 7 users, what is your average daily screen on time? Now look, I know that screen on time is not the best possible metric, but it's the best metric we really have for something like this, okay? Things can make this vary dramatically. Your screen on time might be really low if you happen to be in an area with no Wi-Fi and really bad cellular signal that you're being forced to use. That can absolutely destroy your battery. You might only have 3 hours of screen on time, but you were playing Genshin Impact the entire time. So there's a lot of variables here, but trying to get as many votes as I can. We're trying to kind of find the signal in the noise there. We have about 200 votes, and most people are saying that they're getting between 4 and 6 hours of screen on time, with the next biggest group being 6 to 8. But we need to know a little bit more. We need to know what is actually an acceptable level of battery. So I ran another poll, and most people are saying that 6 to 8 hours is acceptable, but a lot of people are also saying 4 to 6 hours is acceptable. Now, this is a little bit of me interpreting here, but I'm going to say 6 hours is kind of the line. That's kind of our mark to get to or to beat. It seems like if you can get to 6 hours or more, you're in pretty good shape. The closer to 6 you get, the better off you are. So what we're going to do from here is something I've never actually done before. I'm going to do a day in the life vlog style video where I'm going to show you what I do on my phone throughout the day, and then I'm going to give you periodical battery life updates. And I'm going to try to push the thing pretty hard. After what can only be described as a pretty terrible night's sleep, here I am at, as you can see, right up there, 7 o'clock in the morning, about to peel myself out of bed. You can also see over here that we have 98% of the battery left. I've been kind of doing some general social media stuff this morning as I lay in bed. If we pop into this screen here, you can kind of see what I've been up to. A little bit of Reddit, some brief Facebook, Wise, YouTube Studio, just some, basic stuff early this morning. And like I said, 44 minutes of screen time, 98%. Time to get out of bed. Let's get these dogs some breakfast going. And I got to take my wife's car to the shop. But first, the pack must enter the backyard to empty their collective bladders and other parts of their body. Can't see much of that sunrise. A little bit overexposed. There we go. Look at that nice, beautiful pink orange cloud. I edited that first clip with the Gallery app's audio eraser to get rid of some fan noise. So take that into account as well. This is Rutherford. You can notice the shaved patches. A little ER visit last week, but he's doing better. Pancreatitis can't keep you down. And for those keeping score at home, we're at 95% battery. So my wife drives this 2012 Scion TC, and we've got some cheap coilovers on it that are just, they need to be replaced. They've been in there for almost 10 years now, something like that, maybe like 8 years. And it's time. We're going to put it back onto stock suspension this morning, have it done all the way around, and I need a way to get back home when I drop this thing off. Luckily, the shop is just down the road. So I'm about to be the coolest customer they've ever had. I'm going to put this electric scooter into the back of the car. Love that this thing is a proper hatchback. And yeah, when I drop it off, I'm going to take this thing out. I'm going to scoot back home. And I guess when they call me, I'll scoot back down and pick up the car. One thing that I definitely need to do is unplug this wireless charging stand, because I'm trying not to charge this thing, and I am like so habitual towards just dropping my phone on this little 3D printed wireless charging stand that I'm going to do it by accident. So we're just going to unplug this thing and just use it as a stand throughout the day instead. Now, I did plan on shooting some like first-person perspective of me driving my scooter back home, but that scooter, as it turns out, the brake is on one side, the throttle is on the other. So if I'm holding my phone to film, I can throttle but not brake, or I can coast but can't. Yeah, so I didn't actually do that. So you can see, though, here me arriving back home quite safely. I was able to drop the car off, and I think that they thought I was a little bit strange for pulling an electric scooter out of the back of the car, but hey, if it works, it works. Something that I end up doing a lot, especially right now after my dog just had a little bit of a health scare, is I will have my phone sitting on that stand and I will have Wise opened up with my security cameras because he's wandering around the backyard doing dog stuff and I'm paranoid, so I'm watching him to make sure that he's not acting weird or anything like that. And because of that, sometimes my screen on time does get pushed up a little bit higher because, as you can see here, I've already got 15 minutes in Wise just because I'm watching my dog. Now, keep in mind that sitting there and, running these cameras like this is a live stream. You can see it loading back in right now, and you can see the time sort of ticking away. That is an active use of this phone. It is doing something. It's not just like me sitting in with a picture loaded up. So I do think that that is at least fairly active use of the phone, even if I'm not necessarily actively using it. I'm sitting here editing a video and the phone is there and I'm glancing down to check on them. So if you see a lot of Wise usage, that's probably what that is. One thing I do a lot of with any phone that I'm using is if I'm doing some sort of medial task like washing the dishes or something like that, I'm going to put the thing down and have some media playing, a video, something like that. And these speakers do tend to be loud enough for me to do that. But lately, I've been using this little Bluetooth speaker, so that's probably what I'm going to do now as I wash these dishes. You can see that we are at 86% battery. So I've got some errands to run, so I'm going to throw my Z Fold 7 into this little car dock. Now, I do know where I'm going, obviously, but I'm going to go ahead and use Google Maps navigation and have some YouTube music playing as well, just to sort of stress the battery on this thing a little bit more. It is 9:04. We have an hour and 35 minutes of screen time use, 81% battery. All right, we're checking back in again. It is 10:40. You can see that I have 2 hours and 27 minutes of screen time being used. Maps has jumped up 22 minutes of Maps usage. That's definitely going to tank the battery, and you can see that has happened. We are at 66% now. Now, the reason I'm recording right now is because that's basically 1/3 of my battery gone. So we can take that 2 hours and 27 minutes and theoretically, hypothetically, multiply that by 3. We're trying to hit that 6-hour mark. And we are actually on our way there. It's been kind of rainy off and on today, which has kept me inside really since I got back from running a couple of errands. But the rain has subsided, and I took the opportunity to step out into the front yard. Some of the flowers, the bees were coming back in. I love taking close-up 2x photos with that primary sensor of those sorts of things you can see on the screen now. We are sitting right about 54% battery, and we have about 3 hours and 20 minutes of screen on time. So that means we are still trending towards that 6-hour benchmark that we stated at the beginning of this video. So this has turned out to be a very strange day to do this sort of test because there really wasn't anything supposed to be happening in terms of weather today. I didn't really see anything going on, but in fact, it turns out there have been a couple of tornado warnings headed directly for Knoxville, and my wife works basically in the line of these. They've actually just now tornado warned that storm. That storm that's bearing down on her now has some rotation there as well. She is in a safe location, but because of that, I have been spending a lot of time looking at a radar app on my phone, and that's got GPS turned on to show your location. Could have turned GPS off, but I left it on. I've also had my Wi-Fi just turned off for the last few hours to sort of simulate, again, a really stressful day for this phone where you're out and you're using GPS a lot and you're using cellular data a lot. And because of that, right now, it is 1:44. You can see down there at the bottom of the screen, 1:44 p.m. I have 40% of my battery left, and I have 4 hours and 30 minutes of battery life. So we started off really nicely on track for that 6-hour mark, but with all of this cellular use and GPS use staring at this radar, giving my wife updates, we have definitely taken a chunk out of that battery life. It's going to be a nail biter if we can get to 6 hours. So here we are driving the wife's car home. We have about 5.5 hours of screen on time. We're sitting at about 25%. I do think that we are going to make it across the finish line, partially because this entire time I've been reading off the screen on time that you see inside the Digital Wellbeing app, and that does not count any time spent not in an app, just sort of on your home screen. And that's going to add probably another 20 minutes or so. So realistically, we're kind of probably already there. But I've been kind of, again, in this pursuit of making this the hardest possible, scenario for my phone. I'm reading off the version that doesn't give it that sort of benefit. So we're getting very close. Car's driving smoothly. All 4 shocks and coils replaced. Had to do CV axles and sway bar links too. That ended up being fairly expensive, but it is what it is. The next update should be crossing that 6-hour mark. All right, guys, here we are at 4:24 p.m. with 11% battery, 6 hours and 3 minutes. Now, like I kind of alluded to earlier, this is in Digital Wellbeing, and because of that, it only shows time spent actually in an application. Ignore those stuttery animations. That's because of how I'm capturing it. But anyways, this does not count time spent just on your home screen, and that is going to be some additional time. But you can see exactly what I've done today, and this has not been a normal day for me. I have taken a bunch of pictures, I've taken a bunch of videos that I have edited on my phone and then wirelessly transferred over to my computer. I have used GPS for 25 minutes or so in Google Maps. You can see 22 minutes is what we can call it. I watched Hulu for almost an hour, which typically I'm not going to do that either. As usual, I had Wise running for 45 minutes with multiple cameras streaming to my device concurrently. I watched the weather for 25 minutes through WeatherWise with the GPS running, and virtually all of this occurred on that larger inner screen. So this, again, was like a worst case scenario for my use. Now, I'm sure there are going to be people that are going to say, wow, your battery was basically dead at 4:30 p.m. That's not very good at all. But let's kind of put this in perspective. I unplugged it at 7 a.m. It's 4:30. It's almost 10 full hours of time, and 6 hours and 37 minutes was spent with the screen on. That is highly unusual for me, and I think it's probably unusual for most people to have double the amount of time with your screen on versus screen off. So if we use the phone more like a normal person, we're going to make it later than 4:30 p.m., right? Because the screen off time is not going to be draining your battery nearly the same way as the time with the screen on is. And of course, if I, just use my phone like normal with light processing mode turned on and with my Wi-Fi turned on and I'm home for probably most of the day, I probably didn't watch Hulu for an hour. I probably, all of these things that I don't normally do don't happen. This is probably, like I've told you guys, a 6+ hour day. It's going to be longer than 6 hours of screen on time for sure. I can't tell you exactly how long, but it would definitely be longer than this. This was intentionally a rough day. And I think that this does line up relatively well with what we were seeing on the poll, with most people being between 4 and 6 hours, and then the next highest group being 6 to 8. But we do have to be realistic, right? Most people did say that they wanted between 6 and 8 hours of screen on time, and you guys saw exactly what I got today in this test. So this video is not about me telling you if the battery is good or bad. I'll tell you that for me, it's absolutely adequate, but I can't tell you if it's good or bad for you. The point of this video was to show you what most people say they get, what most people say they want, and then to demonstrate for you a day that is very well documented so that you can look at this and see, this is what I should expect with this kind of use. It's information that you can then take and run with. I will say to the people that will tell you that the battery life is just unusably bad, that is just patently false. It's just not the case. It's not been my experience, and you have seen my experience now here today. Guys, let me know what your experience, though, has been in the comments down below. Continue adding to that data set. Give more about how your phone is used and what kind of battery life you get. All that's going to do is help people who come along later and are looking to buy this device or trying to determine what to do. It's just more information. So, guys, please do exactly that. Subscribe for more content just like this. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.